All right, welcome to another episode of Pursuit. We are continuing on the series that Kevin started last week. This week we're going to be talking about perspective. And also, before we get into that kind of ties in with perspective. So there was this reel that came across a group chat, right? And if you know the Saw movie, what is it? What number is it now? 6?
10.
X 10? Oh, I don't know. I don't remember which one it was.
X is 5. So.
No, X is 10. V is 5? V is 5. Saw 10 came out. And so the reel says, are you gonna be able to put it up?
I'll at least put the screenshot of
Okay.
it.
So the reel says, me waiting out the 60 seconds because Jigsaw said I had to pour my milk in my bowl before the cereal. Right? So my question to that was, if we're waiting out the 60 seconds, does that count as suicide?
Was that the...
I didn't know.
Because I told you I didn't look back at it. I generally thought the question was, should we pour milk
No.
first or after?
The question was, is me waiting to die and not doing anything about it, does that count as suicide?
No.
Why
Because
no?
first of all, can we keep saying that word on here? Or are we gonna get censored? Isn't
Too
it
late now.
to unalive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't it be to do it to yourself, like physically?
Well, by not pouring the milk in first, I'm setting myself up for it.
Yeah, but someone else still has to pull that trigger for you. Like has to.
Well,
carry it
that's
out.
why I'm like, there's a gray area.
So then no.
Because if I just poured the milk first, I could have avoided that. But I did it knowing that if I didn't, I would be...
But how sure are you that you were gonna like?
You sent the reel, first of all.
I know, but I'm just saying I don't think it's unalivable. Unaliving
This
yourself.
prompt, Jigsaw, this is one of his games. If you don't do the game, you...
No, because like, what if he last minute was like, you know what? I'm not gonna do that.
You think in his 10th movie he's going to have a change of heart?
I don't know. What do you think?
So,
Goodness.
I think that... I'm trying to remember what I said, because I feel like I just started to argue both in the group
I
chat.
want to go like.
I don't remember where... How did I send it to you, Asha, the screenshot?
But basically...
I don't remember.
I'm gonna look.
I know whenever you said you were going to censor, that's when we stopped talking
Yeah.
about it. But I think at first I said it was because even though technically you're not pulling the trigger, you're not doing everything possible to save yourself.
Right?
But I feel like me saying that creates a lot of implications for other things which we wouldn't consider suicide. Don't tell me. Let me see if I can remember whatever I said. Yeah, because like if like where do you draw the line on like not doing everything to save yourself? Because like if you just eat unhealthy all the time, are you then killing yourself? Right? But then to like what you were saying, where you said it wasn't, I feel like by not pouring the milk, that would be like you see the crosswalk says don't walk and it's a busy intersection and you just decide to walk anyway. Like you know that if you don't do something or do something, you'll stay alive, but by choosing to not do it, you're putting yourself in harm's way. Even though technically it's the driver in the car hitting you, you shouldn't have been on the road.
Yeah.
Okay, so in that same instance, right? Pedestrians walking and they get hit by a car.
But
Did
that's
they commit
different.
suicide?
That's different because they didn't go out into the street intending to get hit.
How do we know that?
I'm not... Well, in this scenario, right? It's just a pedestrian crossing the street.
Well, if you're basing on my scenario,
Yeah.
right?
Where you were told not to go out.
Well, that's the thing. Is it suicide or is it just them being dumb? Does that make it suicide then? What is the definition of suicide? What is the definition?
I feel like we've
What
said
does
the word
Webster
too
say?
many times.
What does unaliving?
We need to... I'm just going
All
to...
right.
Instead of saying it. Does
I
that
feel
look
like
weird?
that's so much worse.
I'm just gonna. Yeah, that's horrible. Wait, I'm gonna pull it up.
So, your
Yes.
initial response was depends on how you look at it. So
Which I started with. Okay.
so they sent the reel, and I replied to it, and I said, question though, does that count as suicide? Kevin says, depends on how you look at it. Is Jigsaw responsible for your death, or are you because you didn't fight for your life?
Yeah, that sounds okay. I was getting there.
Yeah.
Suicide. Suicide is the act of intentionally causing one's own death. Mental disorders, physical disorders, and substance abuse are risk factors. Some suicides are impulse acts due to stress, relationship problems, or harassment.
You
I feel
could have
like you could have
stopped
stopped at the first
yeah.
sentence.
I just wanted to know the whole thing, okay?
So by not pouring the milk, which is a seemingly simple thing, I am therefore
Intentionally.
yeah.
By not pouring the milk, you are bringing harm to yourself.
And
That would result in
it
death.
says me waiting out the 60 seconds. So I'm sitting there waiting for it to come to me because I don't want to pour the milk first.
But then
Also-
all the cereal is just gonna be on top of the milk, and I don't know if I could do that.
Literally, no,
but
it's
it doesn't
not.
say that you have to eat the cereal though.
Oh,
That's
it
the other
doesn't.
thing.
But also, do you
Like,
know
you're
how-
gonna do
hold
that on the
hold
principle?
hold
No,
on.
I'm not
Wait,
doing it on the
no,
principle.
because let's go back to what you said. All the cereal's gonna be. We said all the milk is gonna be on top of the cereal.
No, the cereal is gonna be on top of the milk.
What kind of airy cereal are you eating that it just floats in
Floats.
milk? If that was the case, why am I
pour
buying? Why am I
solid,
buying
The
floaties?
solid
Guys.
would sink into the liquid.
The moment you put like two pieces in there, one on top of the other, one of them's going down.
I don't eat cereal, so I don't know.
Get her off the stage.
I would wait
Okay,
it
but
out.
wait, you don't need to eat cereal.
Asha, can you
to-
just
to
zoom in for the rest of the
understand-
episode on just
Oh my
the
God.
two of us? Just keep her out.
Guys, you mean to tell? Okay, some of the cereal would
Okay.
sink because of the weight, right? But then it'll be on top.
That would happen regardless. As soon as you pour the milk in and it reaches a
Oh,
certain
that's
level,
right.
it's gonna float or sink either way.
That's right. I recant that statement.
I'm gonna edit that part out. Where she's
How dare you?
And then you went on to say, hold on. Does that mean if a robber puts a gun to your head and you don't fight back, is that suicide?
There we go. I knew I had some other like wild analogy in there. So, what do you guys think?
If someone puts a gun to your head and you don't fight back, I feel like that's different though.
Is it?
Because what if you make a fast move and they shoot you?
Yeah, but you fought back and then they shot
I
you.
tried
so then,
to save myself.
So then that's homicide,
Okay,
not suicide.
But what if I don't fight them and they don't shoot me, right? Like because I didn't get aggressive towards them and I gave them whatever they wanted or whatever.
It's not a bear. Like if you don't get aggressive, they leave you alone.
No,
I don't
but that's
think
what I'm
that's how
saying. What
bears
if I
work, though,
what if
but-
I do what they say, right? I don't fight, but I comply. I give them what they want and then they like let me go.
But you don't know if that's gonna happen.
You don't know what's not going to happen.
Well, herein lies the point of the question.
No, because this question clearly states that if you don't pour the milk first, you're going to die. It's Jigsaw's game.
How you know it's not Jigsaw?
But didn't I say that previously? I was like, how do we know he's
Honestly,
gonna kill us?
zoom in on just the two of them and I'm going to leave.
I mean, I've walked off before. I don't mind just rolling out. Call Jigsaw right now. Phone a friend. Phone a friend. Phone a friend. Well, what do you guys think?
I feel like Raimi had a question or a comment. I saw like her hand slowly going up.
My question was for the robber. Like, if somebody's trying to rob you, you're supposed to they want your money, so you're supposed to throw it and run.
Throw it in the opposite direction.
Exactly, and then run the opposite direction. So you're still fighting for your life, but you're not.
Do you guys know how a gun works? Like even if you're running.
Yes,
He
but
can
they're
still-
gonna be. But they're gonna be
Run like
preoccupied.
this. You gotta run in a zigzag. Duh. They taught us that in the dare classes when we were young.
In the dare classes.
Yeah, DARE.
What kind of dare class
Dare,
did you
dare.
have?
Isn't that for
Dare.
drugs?
Yeah,
Dare,
but they
not
taught
to.
you about that too with the drugs.
Girl? What high school did you go to?
Edison.
No,
first
don't
of
put that
all,
on my high school.
Yeah,
Don't
no.
put that on my high school.
I learned that in elementary. Okay, be for real. They said, you always run in a zigzag. You never run straight because you'll get shot.
It's
That's
easier.
common sense.
No, you could still get a shot if you're in zigzag. It'll just be
Yeah, but-
harder.
right.
Yeah. I didn't learn that in Dare.
You run in a zigzag for an alligator.
Yes.
Do you?
that's it.
Where are
Yes.
you getting with a robber?
No, if someone has a gun or a projectile.
They can just.
Okay, but if
Yeah,
you're
but like if you shoot
if
that
you're
way, the
going like
bullet's not
this,
going that way.
At some point, if I just keep it to the right, at
What
some
are we
point you're
doing
gonna
right
go
now?
that
I
way.
don't know. This conversation has gone.
You guys
left.
ever felt like
a
if
plastic
you're in
bag
that?
drifting through the wind, wanting to start again. I do right now.
No, I'm talking about like, did you ever think about like if you were in that situation, would you run towards them? Cause like
Towards who?
and
the
pass them?
attacker?
Yeah,
To do what?
to run beside them. And
What?
that's the
You're running the
direction.
race of life? I don't understand.
Like you're running and then you just do like a Yui, and then you just start running the other way.
Hold on.
how agile
Hold
do you
on.
think you are?
Hold on.
Wait, you guys should have got your little pretend guns, and then you run in a zigzag and see if they can't catch you. 'Cause
Yo, I
that's
have the
so
Nerf gun in the trunk of my car.
Mine is in my unicorn one. I think
I have
it's
the- I have the other one too, I think.
Dining room.
All right. So bonus episode Patreon. You're gonna zigzag, and we're gonna shoot Nerf guns. And at some point, you're gonna make a U-turn and run back towards us while we're aiming, and see how that works. That's what we're gonna do.
I hate it here.
Anyway, so this week we're talking about perspective.
Please continue.
That initial question was supposed to dive into our perspectives on what we think the line would be, but it
Her
very
perspective is
clearly
now.
snowballed.
We know what her perspective is. Run back.
I'm gonna do that bait though.
Okay, so hypothetical.
Another one?
I love these. Go on.
It's like the middle of the night.
I can tell you exactly what direction she's gonna run in. I can tell you exactly what direction she's running in. She's getting out of bed. She's running that way. Then running back into
I'm
bed.
running through the same window.
Wait, it's in the middle of the night. You've just woken up to someone banging on your bedroom window. Then they break the glass. Your room is filled with smoke. Your entire family, pets, everyone is outside. They're safe and they're screaming at you to get out of your room before it gets engulfed in flames, right? But you have a lot of stuff in your room. It's stuff that you love. What do you take? Or actually, sorry, what wouldn't you take?
What would I not take?
What would you not take? Anyone.
I feel like you were gonna say something. You can go
But that
first.
was when I said, what would you take?
Yeah.
Just what's the opposite of what you were thinking?
Wait.
I think about that
Hold
all
on.
the time.
Yep.
Okay, so everyone's safe outside.
Yeah.
My kids are
We
safe
have this.
outside.
I feel like you're gonna say the same thing I'm about to say. So go ahead. You say it.
Yes.
Because I'm gonna be the crazy one, but you say it. Say
People
it.
and animals are safe outside. It's just you and your belongings.
Honestly, the only thing I would grab is like
No, we're not on the same page.
my kids' albums, like their birth albums. That's the only thing I would like and run. And that's just because I know exactly where they are and I can. They're on
No,
the
I
way
thought
out.
when she started, she was gonna say, "Why is it everyone's outside and no
I'm
one
the
came to
last
get me?
one?"
No,
How no one came to get me?
You're.
I can tell you what. I can tell you what I'm leaving. I'm
leaving.
leaving all the family albums because they left me, so I'm leaving all the family albums. All right.
They're banging on your window, breaking your glass.
Why couldn't? There's a door to my room.
You don't know where the
no,
fire's
but in
coming
my
from.
situation,
It's already
worse.
at your door. You have to get out the window.
No, but in my situation is worse because why is Roman outside? We share a room.
he went to get the kids.
He saved the kids.
Whatever.
He couldn't tap her while he was getting out.
Well, I don't know how
Both
heavy she
hands for
sleeps.
both
All right,
kids.
No,
this is
I'm
getting
not
out of
saying
hand.
grab him saying like, yo, like wake up.
This is getting out of hand. What would you not get? What would you not take?
What would I not take?
Yeah.
I know I got yelled at once because some family vacation we were on, the fire alarm went off in the hotel, and I legit ran back in the room to grab my Game Boy. And not even the new one. This was like the old, like the first Game
So
Boy.
that's something you would grab.
Yes. I'm just trying to tell a funny story. Sorry. I'm not. Thought we were allowed to have fun here. I guess not.
We've just had 15 minutes of fun.
Fun police. All right.
The fun time is over.
My mom says that when she's mad at me.
That's the clip of the week. The fun time is over.
What's the name of the episode? The fun time is over. Let's start by talking about suicide.
Oh my god, that's a perfect segue. What's your perspective on
If this
that?
is the last episode of Pursuit. But it's okay. First, it's a weird premise. That's what would I not take? I guess the only thing I can think of would be like clothes. I'm trying like things I can buy back easily. Wait, I would not take. Wait,
Why can't we take something?
You can take things, but the
it's
question is
what am I gonna
not.
leave? Yeah, I would leave clothes. I can buy that back.
My TV, I'm not taking. My shoes, I'm not taking.
None of them.
Maybe the Louis, yeah. Maybe those. No, because like there's a fire. Why am I grabbing anything but myself?
I mean, you need shoes to like wear outside. I'm just saying.
Oh, let me grab my favorite shoes and then you
Honestly,
die.
the only shoes I have in my room are like my heels. I'm not jumping out of my window with a
Yo,
pair of
I saw you
heels on.
running after little kids in heels, so I feel
Yeah,
you
but
can
I'm
do
not
it.
jumping out of a window.
How high is the window?
Like second floor.
Oh. Can't tell y'all what I would take. 'Cause I
No.
think about this
Can you throw
often.
this stuff out?
What would you not take? We're not asking what you would take, Farah. What are you leaving behind?
I don't know.
Farah sounds like she's gonna get left behind
I
in the
wouldn't.
fire.
I would jump out.
All right, we're moving on. So,
I'll take my bag because you didn't let me say it.
I'm gonna edit it out.
I would take all my paintings.
that's not the question.
No, because I think about it every night.
No.
Why do you think about that every night?
I think
No.
I have an exit plan just in case life happens. And usually my bag has everything I ever need, so I'm just grabbing my bag and I'm out. You can buy clothes.
Ariel, stop.
Just
That's
want
also
it to
gonna
be
be the
heard.
thumbnail for the episode.
just
You
want it
just
to be
bang your head into the
heard.
microphone.
So, moving forward,
Hopefully.
because we've already said what we would leave behind, because that happens to go with my follow-up question.
Sure.
Why did you choose to leave those things behind?
Because they were easily replaceable.
How long would it actually take you to decide what to leave behind before jumping out of the window?
Not
10
long.
seconds.
To be honest, the only thing I probably would grab right now is right by my window.
What is that?
It's like a painting.
Oh.
That's like probably the only thing of like value I would keep in there.
So, what in your life right now do you think you can give up to live more fully for God?
Close. It was right there. It was right there.
Please do not give up your clothes.
But he could buy more.
If you're giving them up to live a fuller life,
We could,
you're not buying more.
there's leaves and stuff. It'll be okay.
All right.
Like we took it back to like the Garden of Eden, you know?
This episode looks like it's being recorded at like 3 a.m. after a Taco Bell dinner. Like,
I
You
think you
asked
broke
for-
Ariel. Can you cut to her?
she's a broken woman.
It'd be like that sometimes.
I don't know whether to laugh or cry. I could do both.
I'm doing both. I got tears coming out.
So, in Matthew chapter 25,
Hmm.
starting from verse 14, it goes on the parable of the talents.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to pull it up or not. I have it pulled up in King James Version.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Even though my Bible
We're on the
sets up.
same page.
Yeah, because that's where my Bible's
Nice.
at.
All right, so I'm going to read it out portion by portion. We're going to break it down, right?
Sure. I'm still in Psalms, but sure.
Okay, so we're going to start with verses 14 to 18, right? For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country who called his own servants. What happened?
Nothing. It took me like 60 seconds to register what I said. Why did it take me
Because I didn't expect you to ask me something. And I was like, wait, did he ask me something? That's what processed in my brain. I'm sorry.
You're not making it out of the room. They're gonna break the window. You're gonna. What's going on? You're gonna run. U-turn.
No, I wish I had peanuts to throw at this show.
Stop! I didn't
Anyway.
expect you to ask me something in the middle of her reading. So
That's why I was.
Ariel is a broken woman.
I'm not Ariel.
Can I?
I don't know. I don't have hope for this episode.
You said same?
You put Kevin in the middle and like he can't help.
He doesn't know
himself.
how to
Like,
act.
right. Back to the light you go. All right. Again, the kingdom of heaven. That's where you were.
I'm just going to give it a second. So we have
I'm
a
good.
clean cut.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
So, I can't even look up. So, in Matthew, put, whose camera is this one?
I think it's
Oh, that's on
Chris.
Chrissy. Never mind. Don't move it. It's fine. I'm just going to, it's you and me. We're locked in, all right?
Well, look at that one.
No, because that's looking in your direction.
I'm,
And that's the
I'm
problem.
looking down. I'm reading as you.
All right. So, verse 14. For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another he gave 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his, and to another 1. To every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey. Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them other 5 talents. And likewise he that had received 2 had also gained another 2. But he that had received 1 talent went and digged into the earth and hid his Lord's mercy. What happens here? Who can summarize that?
Chrissy can.
First of all, I'm still in the NLT version reading.
Great, so that's a different version that you can summarize.
I'm still reading.
Power of editing, my friend.
Up to what verse am I going to?
14 to 18.
So basically, this guy, he gave money to his servants. One of them just put his money in the ground and the other multiplied it. What was your question?
Yep, what's happening so far?
Yeah.
So why do you think the third servant buried the talent he was given?
Kevin.
Without reading ahead.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if they actually say why he does it or not in the story. I don't think they do. But
Yeah, it does.
why he didn't? Oh. I'm gonna go with he was scared to lose the money, the talent. So as a result of that, instead of using it to make more money like the first 2 guys did, instead he just buried it in the ground so that when the master, the boss, whatever came back, he could at least give him back the 1 talent.
So he didn't want to lose it, so he just kept it safe.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good answer. Good answer. Moving on. We're going to go to verses 19 to 28. All right. After a long time, the Lord of those servants came back and reckoned with them. I'm kind of paraphrasing these words. If you're following along. After a long time, the Lord of those servants came back and reckoned with them. And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought the other 5, saying, Lord, thou deliveredst unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside them 5 talents more. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of the Lord, of thy Lord. He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, you gave me 2 talents, and look, I've gained another 2 beside them. Whoop. Hold on, I lost my place. Okay. Yeah. His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee that thou art a hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid, and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo there thou hast that is thine. The Lord answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knowest that I reap where I sowed not, and gather where I have not strawed. You should have therefore put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I would have received mine own with usury. Take therefore the talent from him, and give it unto him which hath 10 talents. So, you were right? He was scared to lose it, so he buried it, he kept it safe, and he didn't grow it. But when the master was talking to them, he says to the other 2, Well done, my good and faithful servants. Why does he say that to them? Why are they his good and faithful servants?
Because they multiplied his money. They didn't just like wait around.
Mm-hmm.
That's wrong. Well, so you shake your head.
I did nothing.
I
I looked at you answer, and then I moved my head back over to Ariel.
When we run it back, you'll see you shook your head.
So why did he say, Well done, my good and faithful servants?
I concur with her answer. They used the money that he entrusted to them to grow it. As he kind of says to the guy that doesn't do anything, they put the money to work. They reaped what they sowed, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. And so how does what the 3rd servant say to his master differ from the first 2 that approached him?
I think it goes to the fact that I think part of it is, so what the master was saying was, you should have known me by now and know what I expected of you, right? So the fact that these 2 guys did what was expected, and the fact that the 3rd servant did nothing except literally buried under the ground, right? It's kind of, well, what was the point of it, right? Why I didn't need to give you the money in the first place. Realistically, I could have just kept it in my own pocket at that point. So I think that's more, I think, why the 3rd one kind of gets yelled at.
Chrissy?
I agree. I mean, what Kevin's saying is that, sorry, I had a moment. If the master, I guess, right? The servant should know like what he expected. So, I mean, with us too, like if you knew better and you didn't do better. So obviously I'm gonna be mad.
Yeah, so the 3rd servant differed from the other 2 in that he told him, he's like, Hey, I know you've done these things, but I was too scared to do it, so I'm just gonna hold on to this real tight and give it back to you when you come back. Do you think he realized that it was like a test? Or like just to see what he would do with it?
I don't know. That's a good question. Does it say why he gave them money?
Part of my notes. I just thought of that.
No, if it says if it says in the scripture why he gave them.
I don't think it says. I think it just says he gave it to them.
I interpret verse 14 as he's going on vacation.
Yeah, he's traveling.
And he's leaving the 3 of them in charge.
Yeah.
Right? It says traveling to a far country. So he has these 3 guys take his money and, hey, you gotta do what I would normally do. So realistically, the third person was just disobedient.
Did he say to do what I would do?
No, but I think that was the expectation. I mean, the third guy knew, hey, this is
That's
what,
right, because it says according to his ability.
yeah, right. So
He
there
gave them
is
according
some.
to their
I think there
ability.
was an expectation there.
Right.
And the third guy just didn't. He just refused to do anything.
I think so. In his justification, right, he gave a reason as to why he didn't do anything with the money, right? So he says, like, essentially, I was scared, right? I didn't want to lose it. I didn't want to lose your money, so I kept it. So when we do things, right, that we know like when we sit on things that we know we should do something about, right? How do we justify that within ourselves? Because, like, if I know that I should reach out and talk to this person, right, but I don't do it because I'm like, oh, I don't know if they're going to want me to talk to them. I don't know if it's going to be like I'm prying or something like that. I'm justifying that to myself.
I mean, to be honest, I think it's just a lot of what you said is the same thing the third person said, right? They're afraid, right? And I think in a lot of those situations, it's fear is what's holding us back from doing whatever it is we should be doing. I mean, again, if you look back at that story, obviously the master knew of the three servants, that third one was like the least capable, right? Because he gave them talents according to their ability.
Yep.
So he gave one guy the most because he knew, hey, you're probably catching on the quickest to what I'm doing. I'll give you the most. And then I'll give this other guy 2, and I'll give this guy 1, right? He was, even though he knew that guy was the least capable, there was still an expectation that you should be able to do something.
Yeah.
Right? And I think the fact that this guy did, I personally think that the master would have been even happy if the guy came back with nothing, knowing, hey, I did this and it just didn't work. Right? I think the master would have been more happy with that, losing the one talent, than getting back that talent with like a handful of dirt.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, I think when it comes to us and things that, like you said, reaching out to that person and not doing it or whatever the case may be, I think a lot of times we let fear dictate our actions, and in those situations we kind of end up like this third servant who just doesn't do anything.
But guys, hear me out. If I know my servant is not going to do it, and like you said, he at least like thought he would do something. That's why he got the least amount. Isn't it like setting him up for failure?
I don't think he expected him to do nothing with it, and that's where the problem is. I think because he gave him 1, he knew that he might not get as much as the others did, but he still could have done something with it, right? So if I can't trust you with little, why would I trust you with much?
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
So like as a result of the others playing or whatever and doubling their money, they're like, okay, now I know you can handle bigger tasks. Now I know that you're capable of doing this. Right? So the master replied and he says, you wicked and lazy servant. Right? Do you think that's a fair response to what happened in the situation?
Yes.
No.
Ooh, why?
You go first.
Because I'm just saying, right? We know this servant isn't going to do much.
Okay, continue.
Right?
Let her finish. Can you mute his mic?
Like, I don't really have all the hope in this servant, but like as you guys said, he did. He just, that's why he got
that
one.
much, but I expected
right?
to do something. Yeah.
And now, maybe the servant didn't know it was a test. He thought he was doing something good. He's like, okay, well, I don't want to lose the money, so I'm just going to keep it safe and return it when he gets back. And that's what he did. So he thought he did something great. He didn't lose the money. It's here. Don't call him lazy and wicked. Sometimes you have to tell people exactly what you want. You can't expect them to think of it themselves.
Okay.
So I totally disagree with everything you just said. On the premise of you clearly didn't read it. And I know that because I was watching you as she was reading it. because you were doing everything but actually read your Bible.
I did.
No,
I
you were
skimmed
not.
it.
You
I
were
skimmed
not.
it. And why
So
is
why
your
did
eyes
you
on
have
my
to
phone?
First off, she had to close Instagram to get there. Right? I
First-
watched her. No, first she checks her notifications, right, and then she went to her Bible app.
It was an important
And then when she went to her Bible,
notification.
she just put it down, and then she checked back her watch, and then you were done.
First of all, I could read from here, and if you're looking at me, were you paying
First,
attention to
because
Ariel
I can
reading?
listen to her. You couldn't.
Why
for
are
the
your
first
eyes on my
passage.
phone, please? But tell me what it says, though. Go ahead. I have the NLT. You want to read that?
No.
Okay.
So I think it is fair because again, the servant. I think we actually said something slightly incorrect,
Okay.
which is that I think the way we're assuming what the master thought of that third servant, that he thought less of him. I don't think it's that he thought less of him, right? The best way I can put it is if like the first servant was like a college student, and the second servant was a high school student, and the third one was an elementary school student.
Just
Right.
skip the middle.
Yeah, to drive home the point, right? So, right, obviously,
He's a toddler.
Like, why would you expect a toddler to do what a college person's doing?
exactly,
That's why he didn't give him the same amount.
right.
I don't like this
But-
master.
That's why I went elementary school. There's still an elementary student is still capable of doing something,
Yeah.
right? So the standard for that student, for that third servant, is lower. However, the expectation that they will meet the standard is the
Mhm.
same.
Yeah.
And I think that is something key to this, right? That's why he calls them lazy, because your standard was lower, right? I'm not holding the fact that I'm not mad that I gave you 1 and you only came back, you doubled it with 2, and the other guy came back with 10, the other guy came back with 4. I'm not mad at you for that. I'm mad at you because you did nothing. You didn't even attempt the standard. You didn't even attempt it. You literally just cowered in fear. That's why the master is
Yeah.
mad. And I think he is fair in being mad because the servant literally says, I know what your expectation, I know how you do things, and yet I chose just to not do it. That's why you're wrong. Continue.
Does that change anything about what you said?
Yeah, it does.
What does it change?
My thought process on it.
Okay, and what is the thought process that changed?
That when he broke it down like that, the expectation was still the same. So yeah, he got less. It's like what you guys said earlier.
If you had just read it the first time.
I did read it the first time.
So,
You're so mean.
what? I was gonna put my leg up.
Better not do that. Crisscross applesauce. Wait. Wait.
Oh, there's a thread. There's a
Yeah.
fluffy. Okay, so what do you think the point of the parable is? Like, what is Jesus trying to communicate to his disciples and to the people that he's preaching to?
Chrissy, I'll let you handle
Don't
that
be
one.
lazy and wicked.
Okay, Kevin,
You want to add more to that?
No, why don't you go? Because I had it wrong.
build
the first
upon
time.
it.
I mean, there's so much we could say. I don't know if we have enough time to go into that, so I'll just highlight some things. No, I think obviously Jesus is trying to drive home a point that as disciples, though we may be different in different levels of our relationship with God, there is still an expectation that there is a standard and that we should be meeting it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether we're new to the faith or whether we are extremely old in the faith, there is a standard. And though that standard might be different for everyone and it's going to look different and our purposes look different and all of that, God still expects us to do his will,
Mhm.
right? So if his will is that he gives us 1 talent and expects us to do something with it, we should be doing something with it, not hiding it in the dirt, right? I think that's what Jesus is trying to get to with this story.
I think also on top of that, when he gives you a little, right? And you try to do something with it, you also can learn from what you're doing, right? So even if I try and I lose it, right? I can see, okay, well, this is where I slipped up, right? Or if I try to do something with what he's given me and I exceed my expectations, like, wow, he really brought me through that, right? Like he trusted me with this little bit. And that because of that, I can now do so many greater things, right? And it's you start with one, but who's to say the next time you're not going to be the one with 5?
And to that, are you gonna finish? Are you gonna
Yeah.
read the rest of the chapter? Okay, so I'm not gonna go to that part. But I do think it's I don't want to jump ahead, but I think it's also important to note that along the lines of what you're saying, had he reproduced just one more talent, right, or anything, right, with that talent, right, it would have also been a testament to who the master is.
To know, yeah.
Like, hey, this is whom. Like, I didn't know this until I met this man, right? And now look at what he's taught me.
Yep.
Right. Same thing with the servant that has the 5 and 3 has 2. When they double that, right? That as much as it's a testament to some degree their ability, but it's the master teaching them.
Yep.
Right.
It's him putting his trust in them to do something with it.
Because had he just left the country, they would have had nothing there.
Yep.
Right? He had to give them this stuff. So I think that had that one servant, it's not just that he didn't do anything, it's that in some ways how do I say this? In some ways he kind of almost disrespected the master by just not doing anything, because now he has, I'm sure people know he's this guy's, like, that's his master. Right? And when they see him with that, it's like, well, why didn't he do anything with it?
I was gonna say it also kind of undermines him, because I put my trust and I put my my expectations in your abilities, and now you just completely disregarded anything that I've instilled in you thus far, because you've already said that I've sown where I haven't reaped, or reaped where I haven't sown, right? And then you're still gonna go and not do anything to reap or sow.
Yeah.
Because even if I came back and you had sown this, but you hadn't reaped the benefits yet, that's not to say it's not going to come back. So, verse 28, we're going to go to 29 and 30 now. For unto every one that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance. I'm going to read this in NLT, these last two. Or maybe we'll do NIV. Let's see. We'll do NIV. For whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they do have will be taken from them. And throw that worthless servant outside into the darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Ooh. Where is there weeping and gnashing of teeth?
Hell. That's crazy.
But okay, so essentially, whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. Whoever doesn't have at the end, right? So it's not to say that you weren't given opportunity, but whoever hasn't done anything with that opportunity will be taken. Everything they have will be taken from them, right? Did I paraphrase that correctly? Well enough?
I think so.
Okay. So, how can we sum up the story as it is? Now we've heard the whole scripture. We've broken it down a little bit. How can we summarize this?
Chrissy?
What's the moral of the story?
Can I have a minute to think about it?
Sure.
Moral of the story is...
Can I have a minute proceeds to go?
Well, that's how I do things. Whatever you are given... Wait, I have to refer to these people, right?
Whatever you want.
Apply
it to life.
It's what we were saying. So if you have a little bit... You just can't. You can't not do nothing. You have to do something in order to do greater things. I didn't think about it. Carry on.
Carry on, Kevin.
Still trying to get through that first sentence with a double negative to make sure you said it right.
You can't not do nothing. You cannot not. So you can do nothing.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So you can't do nothing. Let's drop one of them knots.
Just edit that whole part out.
Would you like to say your moral of the story one more time?
No.
End the episode right there.
We'll cut back to it. Just last line. You can't not do nothing. Oh, that was very loud. Sorry.
What was the question first off?
How would you summarize? Like, what's the moral of this parable?
I think the moral of the parable is that as believers, as disciples of Christ, God does not expect us to do nothing, right? The point of Christianity is not just salvation, right? I think a lot of people just stop there and they are happy with that. I'm saved and that's it, right? The point of Christianity is to actually go and do something, right? The Great Commission, right? Go into all the world, right? Make disciples, right? That only happens when we go and do something, right? And I think Jesus is making a point that says, hey, I'm going to give you the ability to go and do something, right? But you cannot take that ability and just sit on it, right? Because what's going to happen is at some point, because the other thing no one talks about is the fact that the first servant, not only does he now have to handle his talents, he gets the third servant's talents, so he has to handle that as well.
Yep.
Right? Because he has proven himself, he now also has to handle this other guy's load of work also. And I think that's super important that we don't realize, hey, God has something that he wants accomplished here on earth, right? So if it's the three of us doing something and one of us doesn't do anything, someone else has to pick up the slack, right?
Shade.
Right? So that's just what happens,
You're
right?
actually in the spot with the least amount of shade.
Kinda
Literally
hot up here.
speaking.
So yeah, I think that's the moral of the story.
Yeah. So I was gonna bring that back, the fact that now he has to handle more responsibilities than he signed up for. So we can also equate these talents. Well, in the parable, they're speaking about talents as money, right? But we can also equate them to our talents or our skills and abilities that God has entrusted to us, right? So he has given all of us a unique ability, talent, something to do, so that we can serve him and invest in his kingdom and the furtherance of it and, completing the Great Commission. So, but many of us are kind of like that third servant, right? Where we're scared to do anything with it. So we hide it, we cover it up, we keep it pushing, don't think about it. But like we said before, that's also kind of like disrespectful or like disobedient to God, because he's trusted you with this great skill that you could invest in, right? That you can really build upon yourself. And like, even if you're not confident in whatever it is at the moment, you can get there, right? So like when I was younger, I hated public speaking, right? I hated being like the one that people were looking at when I was talking. And now look at me. But if you're not willing to invest in these skills that God has given you, you're kind of disregarding what he has trusted you with, right? You're kind of saying like, I know you want me to do this, God, but I'm not going to do it instead.
Yeah.
But our goal, right, should be to live as the other two servants did, right? To invest, to further it, and to take what God has invested in us and multiply it in others, right? And that's the way that we should live light in eternity.
Yeah.
You can't not do nothing.